Warm greetings and heartiest welcome on behalf of Trützschler family. We welcome you to this webinar where we launch our latest card model TC12. Trützschler has always been an innovation and technology driven company, and we come up with the products which not only fulfill the requirement of highest quality and productivity standards, but at the same time we offer a lot of value added features which can enhance the efficiency and utilization of the machines, lot of self-learning concepts which give a lot of ease of operation, and at the same time, last but not the least, the machines with the lowest energy consumption. For the detailed presentation of TC12, I have my colleague joining live from Germany, Dr. Bettina Temath. Welcome, Bettina.
Thank you, Ashish. Dear ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our Trützschler webinar. My name is Bettina Temath and I'm Head of Global Marketing at the Trützschler Group. It's a pleasure for me to be here and to present on our new card TC12.
Okay, please note one thing. Please post all the questions which you have during the presentation after the presentation is over in the live chat. Thank you, and over to Bettina.
Okay, so let's start this off. The TC12 presents our latest card generation in the 1 meter segment. We call it the little sister of the TC19i, our intelligent card, which has been very successful all over the world. The TC12 presents some decisive benefits. It provides higher quality and productivity through a high precision flat setting system. It ensures effective but gentle opening and cleaning through a new web feed design. It realizes up to 2% less loss of good fibers with waste control, and it features a new web doffing for secured quality at high delivery speeds. In addition, it facilitates an easy and intuitive operation through a state-of-the-art smart touch system and a TLED remote display, and a new coiling system, T-Move 2 plus jumbo cans, which provides up to 50% higher can filling. And here you see all the new features at one glance. And I will tell you now how this new card makes your life easier and your mill more profitable. So let's first have a look at our new high precision flat setting system. As you can see, the card bow has now 8 instead of 4 adjustment points. And the card bow is preset during assembly by Trützschler engineers, and it never requires readjustment afterwards. And this saves a lot of time and money. On this slide, you can see the 5 times larger adjustment range compared to TC10. This allows a simple and quick adjustment after grinding or even after replacing clothings. As we see a strong trend towards the processing of recycled and synthetic fibers, we also redesigned our web feed. For example, number 1 on this slide, you can see the mode knife here is specially developed for cotton, synthetic or recycling fibers. Second, we also have stationary segments at the liquor ins, and this also goes for the 1 liquor in machine card. And third, we also have a special profile geometry for the different materials, and this makes the machine very robust and reliable. All in all, what we have here is a gentle but effective opening of the tufts, while at the same time having a really reliable processing. Now, let's come to the topic of raw material utilization. Raw material is the major cost factor in the mill. And of course, we all want to conserve our resources. And this is why we are thinking about new ways of saving fibers. We realized that the main cleaning action of the card is performed in the liquor in area. And this is where we have introduced our waste control sensor, and waste control monitors the waste and it also sets the servo motor knife. Here you can see a close-up of the waste control sensor. The optical sensor is able to distinguish between good fibers and trash particles. And if too many good fibers are ejected, then Waste Control will give you a warning. And it will also give you a recommendation how to change the setting. And all of this is done with one click on the display. And I'm going to show you now the working principle of Waste Control. You see the fiber flow and the different mode knife settings resulting in more or less fiber waste. And here you see how easy it is to select your waste control settings on the display. Now, what exactly are the advantages of the TC12 compared to competition? So first of all, the waste composition at the liquor in is monitored by the waste control sensor. Waste Control gives you the ideal setting for the mode knife. This is proposed on the display. You click on it, it's ready. And you have finally a simple and reliable insurance against unnecessary loss of good fibers. When you look at competitors, the mode knife at the liquor in needs to be set manually or by motor. There is no sensor technology. This means there is no automatic permanent control of the waste composition. You need to do a manual waste check, and this means that you have an unnecessary loss of time and money. This is to show you now how waste control is not only good for the environment, but also good for your balance sheet. Customer applications and trials showed that we can save 0.4 to 2 percentage points less unnecessary waste with waste control. And even if you achieve, let's say, only 0.4%, this translates into significant savings of raw material and money. Let's now talk about another feature in the TC12. And this feature really brings down operation costs of this card. And this is our new Magnatop flat bar system. Magnatop stands for a high accuracy flat bar. It stands for flat clothing replacement without tools. And it stands for a perfect fit. Clothings are attached to the flat bar by a magnetic force. And here you can see now how easy it is to do maintenance with Magnatop flat bars. All advantages at one glance. You have an easy and quick exchange of clothing strip without tools. You have time and cost savings. There is no investment for a flat workshop, no costs for the operation. There is no service costs for external service providers. Now let's move on from the topic of flat bars to web doffing. Our engineers also developed a next generation web doffing design for the TC12. The changes that you see here on the slide ensure high quality and at the same time a trouble-free running behavior at high delivery speeds. The Sliver disk monitor, which is a new feature that has been introduced to the TC12, constantly measures the sliver weight before it is coiled into the can. And this means that deviations in the sliver weight can be detected very early, and you will receive a warning if this is the case. And here you see how it works. Before we move on to Coiling Solutions, let me say one thing about the operation of this card. The TC19i has a multi-touch screen, which you also know from your smartphone or tablet. So this means you can enlarge things, you can wipe the contents on the screen, so it's as easy as using your smartphone. We have also simplified the monitoring of a large number of machines in a spinning mill. You know it if you have a large production hall with a high number of machines and long distances between the machines. Operators need to walk long distances to monitor all these machines at once. And this we made a little bit easier with our TLED remote display. Operators can see the machine status from far away. So as in this example here, if, for example, we have a green light, this means everything is okay. If we see a yellow light, this means, for example, a can change is needed. Or if there's a red light, it means attention, something is going wrong. And then the operator can walk immediately to this machine and take action. And this will increase the efficiency of your mill. Last but not least, we would also like to talk about coiling solutions. The TC12 offers a broad portfolio of coiling solutions. One of the latest ones is our new linear can changer. It combines can change at constant delivery speed with a compact size and easy assembly. So you benefit from no quality loss, high efficiency, space savings, and faster installation. If you are looking for the highest performance coiling solution that is currently available on the market, you need to opt for our T-Move 2 system. T-Move is unique because in this case, not the cans are being moved, but the coiler plate is being moved. So this is a new feature that brings a lot of efficiency to can change. We realized a super fast can change, which means that you can keep a high production during can change and can drastically increase your efficiency. The advantages of T-Move 2 are multiplied because T-Move 2 works with jumbo cans. Jumbo cans have a 1,200 millimeter diameter, and this means much more can filling. As you can see here, compared to a 1,000 millimeter diameter can, jumbo cans hold about 27 kilogram more content, or 51%, and this is a drastic increase for your mill. Summing up, T-Move 2 and jumbo cans are an unbeatable combination, increasing production efficiency and reducing can changes by almost 40%. And let's not forget that less can changes also means an improvement in quality because you have less piecings. With T-Move 2 and jumbo cans, you have the lowest possible number of piecings currently possible, and this means also that you have the lowest risk for quality deviations. What is best? The jumbo can concept is available not only for cards, but it is available along the whole Trützschler preparation line. And this means that the economic advantages of this concept add up. And having that said, I would like to pass on to my colleague Ashish, who will now present on direct spinning and vortex spinning.
Thank you, Bettina. That was really wonderful presentation, sharing the insights and the features of TC12 machine. Now we talk of different variants which are possible to be added with TC12 machine. And to begin with, we talk about the integrated draw frame IDF generation 2. Before we talk about this machine, let's have a look on the animation. Here you see a very specially designed drafting system 2/2 with an input sensor for detection of the sliver variation, as this model is always available with auto leveling system. With delivery speeds as high as 700 meters per minute, we ensure that the quality of sliver in the can from the first meter to the last meter is always maintained with minimum variation. Along with the design of the drafting system, we have special top rollers which are also having asymmetrical design, ensures almost double life of the cords. At the same time, we have a specially designed new intermediate buffer zone which ensures a very fast can changing speed so that the quality of sliver is maintained throughout the making of the sliver. So we talk about the first application of the IDF system, TC12 with IDF for open-end spinning. Open-end spinning, or we normally call it a direct spinning. So you see a conventional system where you have a blow room as followed by a card and a 2-passage draw frame, and the sliver goes to the open-end spinning machine. Whereas in the direct spinning, you have a blow room followed by a card which is integrated with this auto leveler draw frame, and the sliver from this IDF goes directly to the open-end spinning machine. Now this application is possible for all kind of raw materials, blends, as well as recycling material. This process ensures much lower initial investment, much lower capital cost, of course very less operating cost and labor cost because we have a shortened spinning process. The next application of IDF, which is catching up very fast, and we are very happy to share success of this machine by booking close to more than 200 IDF Vortex process machines in the market. We launched together with our strategic partners this machine in 2015 ITMA Milan, and after field trials, now we are very confident and selling this machine for a typical vortex process in vortex spinning application. Well, let's have a look how does the standard process looks like. Standard process is you have a blow room followed by a card and then typically 3-passage draw frame before you creel the sliver to the vortex machine. Now what happens in IDF Vortex? IDF Vortex, we call it IDF plus 1. So we remove 2 passage of the breaker machines. Instead we use a card which is integrated with a special IDF and followed by a draw frame which is also modified to suit this special application of Vortex. And what are the advantages? Well, let's have a look. We have almost 55% less can handling. So as you have seen, the process is already shortened and we eliminate 2 passage of draw frames. So we have enormous saving on the material handling. We have 13% less space because we do not need any more the long creels and the breaker machines in this process. We have a 9% saving on the exhaust air thanks to the less number of machines, 4% saving in the energy, and 1.5 less operator per 800 kgs per hour of the material produced. At the same time, very critical is the quality, and you can see here we have 900 less sliver piecing per day for a typical IDF process. Just to show you one example of a 13% space saving how it looks like on the layout. Above you see a typical standard process with a 3-passage draw frame, and below you see a layout with the IDF vertex process where the material is creeled from the IDF to the finisher directly onto the vortex machine. Now we talk about TC12 for man-made fiber application. The whole card is designed keeping in mind the special application of the fiber and the special finishes in the man-made fiber sector. So we start right from the feeding area where the complete DFK is offered in a stainless steel execution. So we have a stainless steel combs instead of a normal nylon sheet or a nylon screen fabric like we typically use in a cotton application. Then we have a stainless steel cleaning flap. We have a stainless steel reserve trunk which give a longer life and a smooth passage for the man-made fiber. The back and front stationery, we call it a multi-web clean system, is typically designed depending on the type of the fiber, denier of the fiber, finish of the fiber, as well as the end application of this fiber. The web feed, the single ligament zone, is specially designed with carding segments to offer better opening and orientation of the fiber in different man-made fiber applications. The doffer wire is a very patented and a new design. We call it Nova Doff, which has much higher population on the doffer and ensures a very efficient fiber transfer from cylinder to doffer and subsequently into the slider formation. Now we talk of one of the most interesting applications of TC12, the recycling fiber application. We talk a lot about sustainability, about circular economy, pre-consumer, post-consumer, all the waste which are recycled to form yarn again. For this application, we have also some very interesting features added in TC12 which once again give you a very good efficiency on running all these type of fibers. Once again, we add stainless steel combs and stainless steel cleaning flap and reserve trunk for smooth running of this recycled fiber. We have a specially segmented feed tray in this case. At the same time, we have a pre and post carding stationary flats which are designed for running very high speeds and good quality out of this recycled fibers. We have a special web feed designed in this case where there are segments below the ligament area which offer efficient opening of fiber before they land into the main carding area. Multi-web clean for recycling configuration is also specially designed to suit all the type of fiber waste which are being run on this machine. At the same time, we have a specially designed ligament area where we have introduced segments below the ligament to ensure much higher degree of opening before the fiber lands into the main carding zone. Okay, that brings us to the end of the technical presentation of TC12. To summarize, let's once again look at the main USP of this TC12 carding machine. So to start with, we have PFS40, the precision flat setting system, the TDDM, the disk monitoring system, which is much more stable at higher production speeds as well. Specially designed piecing aid, a big advantage for the operator who are running this machine. Special multi-touch BAE8 display design, which is much more interactive as well as much more easy to operate. We have a special doffer suction hood which gives you best quality values of the yarn. We have the new sealing system which ensures that there is no loss of air and no loss of energy from the carding machine. We have a special web feed designed with stationary segments below the ligament, and we have a special variants of cane changing system, the CCL, the linear cane changer, which ensures the cane changing at full speeds. We have a TLED, a remote LED sensor which helps operator to attend the machine in no time. We have waste control which helps to optimize the waste as well as increase the realization of the yarn. We have a special new generation T-Move 2 which gives you even higher CAN content over its predecessor generation 1. Last but not the least, we have MyMill, which helps to connect all your Trützschler machines onto a single device and ensures ready information and ready database. Thank you for your kind attention, and I hope you liked the presentation of TC12 machine, and I'm sure you will have a lot of clarification and queries on the features of TC12. So you can post your questions in the live chat below, but please ensure that you write your name as well as your company name, and we'll take on the questions one by one. Yes, thank you very much. I hope all of you enjoyed the technical session of TC12. And now you can post your question, as I mentioned already, and we can take the questions. It is a pleasure that I also introduced Director R&D, Mr. Armin Leder, who has joined us for this webinar, especially from Germany. Welcome, Armin.
Yeah, Ashish, hello. And a warm welcome from my side, especially on the behalf of the Trützschler R&D team from Germany. And thank you to you both, to the team here for this session, for invitation. It's a pleasure to be with you, and it's a special pleasure to be with the Indian customers, and hopefully the questions will be not too sophisticated. Thank you.
Okay, I take the first question. Is recycle card made triple Likkerin? So I will give this question to Mr. Leder to reply. Is recycle card made triple Likkerin?
That for the startup, it's a good, easy question. I can easily answer. It is with triple Likkerin, especially to make a good opening and preparation before the fibers are going to cylinder. And you already mentioned, I think, Bettina, you mentioned it in your presentation, that the TC12 is specially equipped with special carding elements, which are really necessary for recycling market and for open the recycling to be perfect, prepared for cylinder carding.
We take the next question now. Moat knife adjustable width possible to replace different width. If I understand the question, it's only that you want to understand that whether the moat knife is adjustable or you have a different moat knife. This is what the question is. Well, I just would like to explain. In general, the moat knife would remain same, only that we have a special optical sensor in the waste extraction duct of the Likkerin zone. Based on the reading of this, the optimum setting of the moat knife is selected, and with the motorized action, the knife is placed at the optimum position. Of course, if you don't like any of the settings as you have seen, then you can also go for your own setting. This is possible.
Yeah, and the advantage is really that you have a very easy system. We have a display where you can choose the setting, and it's an automatic system. So manual waste check, that's a thing of the past.
Okay, next question comes. TC12 recycle card is for spinning mill or is this for fiber opening mills? Yeah, Armin, you can reply this question.
To me, in general, a card is designed for a mill. That means it is designed to prepare the sliver for yarn production. So, as I understand the question right, it is not designed for fiber opening mills, but if you have no yarn application and you have a different use of fiber and you need very fine open fibers with a very special quality, with a good quality, then you can use also the card. And in that case, the card will be equipped with a suction in front, and then you can use the fiber afterwards for different application, for hygiene application, whatever. I hope this answer was the answer to your question.
We go to the next question. Does the flat tops standard supply as Magnatop or Classic Top can also be opted? I can give this question to Bettina.
Yes, so absolutely. So this is optional. Yeah, so you can choose between both.
Yeah, so in general, the card will be supplied with Classic Top. Unless you select a Magnatop, then you can get also the Magnatop in TC12 cards. Is IDF Vortex good for blends? Once again, I give this question to my colleague, Mr. Leader.
Oh God. Yeah, now the questions start becoming more sophisticated. Thank you for that. Now we are going deeply in application. Good for blends. It is good for blends. That means this IDF Vortex process is in general good for viscose, 100%, for polyester, 100%, and also for blends. If you start to blend with cotton, everybody knows that with Vortex application, there is a special handling node necessary. You have waste and all those things. It depends on. But if you want to use blends, then you need a proper blending in the blow room. That means you need tough blending. And I think therefore, you know that Trützschler has also something in portfolio which we can supply that is called the blend line. That means if you want to handle blends with IDF +1, please use a blend line in the blow room. And because you have no draw frames for blending. Thank you.
I take the next question. Is there any production loss with IDF cards in comparison with the normal cards? And I'm sure this question is related to open-end spinning. Definitely not. There is no production loss in IDF cards as compared to a normal card. That means a conventional card with a coiling system or a coiler, because IDF is suitable to run at much higher delivery speeds as compared to a normal card, and with much lower draft in the whole process. The system together with the carding is much more stable for open-end application. And as a thumb rule, I can tell you that more the waste, more is the proficiency of the IDF machines over a classical normal machine. Of course, as we explained, the process is much more smart. That means you have a faster movement of can from directly to the IDF to the open end. So there is no extra passage. The manpower, the power requirement, the space requirement are much reduced. So you definitely get all these advantages with IDF cards in an open end spinning.
Yeah. The IDF is much more suitable for the processing of short fibers, for example. Yeah, so it's a more robust process.
I take next question. You are releasing 2 draw frame passage with IDF. How is it possible to replace 2 passage with 1 IDF? Okay, I just go slightly into the history, and then I leave the rest of the part for Mr. Leder to explain. When we started in 2015, the first application which we, together with our partners Murata, we started to take trials, and we started with viscose. IDF was, of course, always in the auto leveling mode, and we could remove out of the 3 passages, we removed 1 and 2 passage of draw frames and straight went to the finisher machine. Now this finisher is not running with the normal creel. There is a special creel which ensures higher doublings than the conventional route to ensure the loss of blending, which we can say comes out of this absence of 2 draw frames. But overall, the quality of the yarn in Vortex, what we could see up till fabric stage, was very much in acceptable limit, and also was very good in the yarn values. Mr. Leder, you would like to add something?
Yeah, I can add something from technology side to understand. The better question is why you need 3 draw frame pairs for Vortex, there are two technology things. One is the draft. You have to apply a high draft that the fibers are getting parallel. Therefore, as Ashish explained, we need a special setup for the creel for the IDF. And the second, the most important reason is that the fiber hooks, that means you have traveling hooks or leading hooks. And the hooks are coming out of the card. And you can only draw these perfectly in one direction. That means you have a draw frame test. You have always to subtract two, that you're going with the same hook direction into the Vortex machine. So that means only putting out one gives the wrong hook direction. That I have to add. I hope you can understand.
So the odd and even combination of the vortex we maintain, and that's why we, instead of the 3 passage, we go with the 1 passage. So the direction of entry of the fiber disposition in the sliver actually remains same.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Next we take, can we process 30% noil, 30% recycle and 40% normal? Yes, we are doing it. And for these applications, IDF is quite suitable. And as we already confirmed, this is possible to run these blends. The system is much more smart, and you can always take an advantage of a shorter process to the open-end spinning.
Yeah, we even have applications where 100% recycled fibers or secondary fibers from textile waste are being processed. I mean, of course, it depends which yarn count, which fineness you want to achieve. Yeah, that's always the question.
Okay, can the cards be supplied as universal type that is suitable for cotton, melange, recycled fiber, synthetic fiber, or with the option to change feed trunk? Yeah, that's too much into one single machine. I cannot say everything is possible on the same machine. There are tailor-made solutions, and that actually, as you all know in the past, that always been the strength of Trützschler. We can offer the perfect solution for all application. Of course, the card can be universal to some extent, but I would not say that this covers 100% of all the applications you have mentioned here. Because if I talk of synthetic fibers versus a cotton application, then right from the wire configuration to the DFK configuration, add to the steel execution of the card, lot of things change. So the whole spectrum definitely not possible. But yes, there are options when you discuss with our technical team. There are options where we can cover to a large extent this spectrum. Definitely answer is that it's not 100% possible. Okay, that's the most I think exciting question for the day. What is the NRE of the TC12 for the cotton process? I will not share any absolute figures, but just to explain a little bit more, I would request Mr. Leder to just put some light on the fact that why we can expect some better quality results in terms of NRE from a TC12 machine.
I should, in general, the NRE, you know very well, is depending on so many things. I cannot listen all those things where it depends on. But you can say in general, the TC12 has a new FlexBow system, which gets a perfect setting here from manufacturing in India in TIPL, and then the service people outside checking the setting with a special measuring device, and then you have the perfect gap for carding, and that ensures the highest net removal efficiency you can get out of the card. That we can promise, but the absolute value depends on so many things: raw material, production rate, fiber quality, and so on. So it gets higher than the card models before.
I take the next questions. Mr. Jain, can we change CAN in IDF at the same speed? No, because IDF is you can say a replica of a finisher draw frame, and the process of cane change and sliver cutting remains same. So it's not possible as on date in an IDF machine to change the CAN at the same speed. If our director R&D, Mr. Lader, has some nice ideas for 2 or 3 years down the line, then we'll be all excited to know that. But right now, it's not possible to change the CAN at full speed in an IDF machine.
Yeah, we know very well that our customers ask often this question, and we are thinking of how we can deal with it. Ongoing, it is not possible, as Ashish correct mentioned, because it's a draw frame, and the draw frame has to stop. We can make it possible that the machine can run up to 130, 140, 150 meters per minute between can change. This is possible because we have something like a sliver buffer in, where we store the sliver during the IDF machine stops shortly.
Okay, we take the next question. Can these cards be used for processing bleached cotton for non-woven industry? Well, we are already doing that in the predecessor model, or you can say our wider width model like TC15 or TC19. We can always process bleached cotton, and we are running bleached cotton. Of course, the configuration of the card is specially designed for bleached cotton, including the wire and also certain elements which have to be specifically added to manage the bleached cotton. So definitely answer is yes. Suggested to incorporate local languages for better understanding of operators. I would say that's something which has always been the strength of Trützschler in the past, because we were the first one to introduce displays which are giving a lot of pictorial and graphical representation. So practically you are not bound or you are not limited by your local language. If you see the display, what Dr. Bettina shared, it was interesting. It is much more informative. It is in terms of pictures and graphs. So I definitely say that language or the language of the operator is not really a problem while handling this machine displays. We go to the next question. How much wrapping CV we expect in a 100% card, 100% cotton with IDF? I will not give any absolute values here, but one thing is clear: the worse the mixing, the CV values compared to a finisher system versus IDF system, you will definitely see a much better wrapping CV in IDF. All the limits of the wrapping CV are identical to finisher. You can set your own alarms of the range of the CV and control it in the same way like you do in your finisher machine. Okay, good presentation. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Next question. How much production rate increasing from competitor cards in percentage, and same how to expect unit per kg? I will give this question to Mr. Lader.
What does it mean, UKG?
Unit per kg in terms of power.
Unit per kg in terms of power. Okay. We can also not give absolute values for that. The production of the card depends on the quality you want to obtain. That means that is every time that is controlling the production you can obtain. If the quality is in a good range you need, then you can go up what the card is giving on delivery speed. Yeah? So in percentage compared to the previous models, we expect roughly 10% more. at the same level of quality. And that means if you get more production, and if you get, for example, 10% more production, then the idle losses are going down, and that means you save per kilogram, you save energy. That means the UPG is going down.
Also, I would like to add here for especially for synthetic applications, we have completely redesigned the aerodynamics inside the card. So the under pressure requirement and the volume requirement of the card, for example, for 100% cotton or viscose, drastically are lower as compared to a standard cotton configuration by almost 10 to 15%. And this gives much more advantage in case of synthetic applications to run the card at a lower running cost in terms of power and in terms of filtration cost. So that's one big new thing in case of TC12 machines, where the filter cost and the suction values are much lower to a standard card. How to work automatic adjustable PMS setting and how to measure the good fiber. I have no choice than to give this difficult question to my colleague, Mr. Leder.
Yeah, every time I get the difficult questions, I get more to know. Yeah, that is something special of our waste control. Yeah? The waste control, I think Bettina showed that in her presentation. Mm-hmm. Can count two things. There are sophisticated lighting things in this waste control. There's a lighting system in which reflects good white fiber. It also man-made fiber it can reflect, and cotton. And then you see if too much it recognize if too much cotton or too much white fiber came out, it counts. On the other hand, it counts also the trash with a different lighting, and then we can calculate a relation between the white fibers and the black fibers, and then we give you the value, the setting for economic cleaning, which saves waste in every case, but is not maybe an advantage in quality. We give you a regular setting, and we give you also an intensive setting for best quality coming out of the card. And you can decide what setting you want to have, and you only push a button on the control, and then the setting is fixed, and the mold knife is going by own in the position which you select.
Once again, just wanted to add, because there was one related question on the PMS motorized system for melange fiber. As I understand, these fibers are dyed. So as on date, this system, what we are explaining, is not possible to work on dyed application, because the basic fundamental for the working of this is based on the dark and white. And that's why it's not possible as on date to cover the dyed fibers. Of course, this is the beginning, not the end of this innovation. And I think we will improvise in further and offer you such maybe added features in the later models. Next question, why? I'd say it's doffer. Okay, why doffer? Mm-hmm. Suction for quality improvements on classy mats, not explained in this presentation.
I can answer this question.
Yeah, please, Bettina.
Yes, so we have not dealt with this in this presentation, just because I mean the effect is clear, it's there, but it's something that we of course have in the TC12, so it's there as a feature, but it's something that we already had also in the past. So this is something that we have not explained here. But Ashish, would you like to add on this?
Yeah, I think this feature was interesting, because this is avoiding all the rolling of fibers on top of the doffer, and it gives a very nice sliver results. And especially in classy mat cuts, when you look at the B2, B3, it's a big advantage having a doffer suction. And especially at high production cards, it gives a very efficient control and thus give you good yarn values. Okay, we have a question. What will be the highest production rate of IDF at 4% crash level for open-end process? Mr. Hanwant, if I give you a figure, it starts from 90 kilos to 150 kilos, but I'm not sure if I answer your answer in terms of exact number. But if it is a 4% crash for open-end process, we can do anything between 110 to 120 kilos. And as I told you, if the mixing is worse in terms of the short fiber content, you can be rest assured that the system is much more efficient with IDF than a classical coiling system, because then you can run with the minimal draft, and the whole system with regard to the card and attached IDF is much more stable. So I hope I could answer your question more or less to the near values. Okay, I just take more or less, this would be last question. As it is a completely covered card, in case of any emergency or process defect, how would we defect any help from monitor itself? I did not 100% get your question, because if it is a emergency, then the card has n number of features to ensure that the card is immediately stopped. And if it is a process defect, then I can only tell you that Trützschler is offering systems like waste control, NEP control, which are more or less like an online laboratory on the machine itself. So if you have a process defect, if you are, for example, if waste control gives you a sensor, a signal that the waste is more on the white fiber loss, you can immediately react and look at the settings again. But for the emergency, of course, you cannot even open the doors as a protocol of emergency or as a protocol of safety. So there is no question that if there is an emergency, you don't have to worry, because the card is anyway stopped on its own. If I understand the question right, or Mr. Leder, I hope I answered it right.
Yeah, maybe he wants to know if he gets some information on the display about the failure, what happened in the card, because he can not, it is not visible by eyes because the door are closed. And that is very clear. Therefore, the card is equipped with a lot of sophisticated sensor, and which sensor the machine stops, you get clearly mentioned via an image and text on display. I think maybe that answers the question also. Huh?
Any development on backstationary flats to avoid fiber loading on recycled raw material process? Yes, this we have a varied spectrum of different angles and points per square inch in case of backstationary. Right from the different angles, working angles, we have all the options depending on the material, and therefore I'm not 100% sure, but if you give us the material details, we can always recommend the right configuration of the back and front stationary as well, and you can have be rest assured that the performance will be good and there will be no loading at all. This is important question. Will this session available on YouTube for later viewing? Yes. This session will always be available on the to view later on YouTube, and also the same will be available on the Trützschler channel. And so whenever you want to see the presentation again for any point which is missed out, or you want to have any clarification, you can always do that. Yeah, so more or less that brings us to the end. I can see in the chat box there are still questions flowing. Of course, it's always great to interact with you all, but of course we are limited by time. In case you have more questions, please note it down. We keep it in screen for at least 10 seconds. Please note the email ID. You can always write to Mr. S.K. Joshi in Trützschler, and we will be updated on your questions, and we'll come back to you. Please do mention your email IDs and of course the company names so that we can revert on the open clarifications. So with that, I ask Bettina and Amin to say a few words of thanks.
Thanks, everybody. It was a pleasure to attend this webinar. Thanks a lot for your question. And as Ashish said, it's still possible to ask more questions to Mr. S.K. Joshi. Have a nice day.
So also from my side, thank you very much for this question. The question got as sophisticated as I expected from these high qualified Indian customers. So thank you for that. I learned also, as every time, many things with this webinar. Thank you very much.
So now from my side, from the behalf of Trützschler family, I wish you all to be stay safe, because Corona is still around. So take care of your personal hygiene and health, and we wish you all the best. And of course, we are always reachable. You know how, and so you want to reach us, you can write your queries once again on this email ID. Wishing you all the best, and see you next time from Trützschler side. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye-bye.